Hi, you've probably seen this before. When it comes to image processing, we have the before and the after and a split line between them which you can drag so you can compare things at various points. This is what I'll be showing you today how to do with a single HTML element and very little CSS and JS. So let's get started. We're going to have an input here. So input type range, and then we're going to have a style attribute, and inside we're going to set a K to 50. So basically this is going to be like a progress, 50%. By default the minimum is 0, maximum is 100, and the value is 50, so dead in the middle. And we'll be keeping it that way. This is why we've set that K to 50. That's the initial value. Now let's move on to styling, and the first thing that we'll be doing is a sort of a poor man's reset. So basically margin 0, padding 0, and that's about it. We don't need anything more in this case. Okay, now for this, I absolutely hate typing this part, so I'll just copy paste it. Okay, yeah, not nice. Width, let's make it cover the entire viewport, and height. Okay, now let's get rid of that scroll bar display block. Okay, and now the next thing is going to be we're going to set a mixin for the track. So create mixin track, and this is basically going to set border none. We're going to set width 100%, height 100%, set the background to that image, and let's also set a position and size to cover. Okay, and now we'll be calling that mixin. So it's going to be include track. So this should do it. Okay, we're starting to see something. That's good. And then we're going to, let's say, make it cross-browser. We need to get rid of that runnable, and this is going to be range. Okay, now having done this, we're going to create also a thumb. So, and we're going to set here a thumb width, let's say 1M. Okay, and next here we'll be setting it. Okay, and here let's set it to black. Okay, now having done this, let's also make it show up, and here we're going to have just a thumb. So replace all those occurrences with thumb, and of course remove that part because otherwise it's not going to show up. So now we have it, and we can drag it around. Now we want to change that K when we drag it, so a bit of JS. It's going to be add event listener, input, and here we're going to get the event target. Okay, and then on this element, style set property K, and we're going to set it to the volume. Okay, so that's it for the JS. We can just go back here, and here we can set a current progress, position, whatever you want to call it, and we could set it to K times 1%. In this particular case, where this thumb is not transparent and it's not shorter than the whole thing, it's not smaller than the whole thing, it's not rounded or anything, we're not going to notice what's wrong really, but it is explained right here why this approach is the wrong one. And basically it's because if we want to have a progress, it should go, the value, that position should go between the midline of the thumb in this end and the midline of the thumb in this end, because that's how the thumb moves. The border box of the thumb moves within the limits of the slider's content box. So that's the thing. Okay, so knowing this, we're actually going to do half the thumb width, so that we actually start from that half the thumb plus, and the range within which it moves, that's going to be 100% minus the thumb width, because we take half a thumb width out at each end, and then we need to divide by the numeric range, which is 100, because we said it goes from 0, the minimum 0, to the maximum 100. Okay, so having done this, we can have something like this here. So let's say linear gradient 90 degrees. 90 degrees means going in that direction towards the plus of the x-axis, and we're going to have transparent and gray. Okay, and let's say this is going to use that position and sharp transition there, and you can see it now. But the thing is, we want this gradient to be underneath, right? So oops, it's going to go after. And you may be thinking, why, if it's underneath, we can't see it? Well, we're going to do this with background blend mode, and we're going to use luminosity. And now you can see that this part of the image, the after, is grayscaled. And yes, this produces the exact same effect as filter grayscale 1. What luminosity does is it takes the saturation of the bottom layer, which is this linear gradient, and here we have basically nothing, so we'll still see the top layer, but here we have gray. So after this position we have gray, and gray, regardless of what gray we use dim gray, or we use something like white smoke. Okay, so regardless of what gray we use, this is always going to have saturation 0, so we can use whatever gray we want there. And the other two, the hue and the luminosity, are taken from this top layer, which is basically the image. So yes, this produces exactly the same effect as filter grayscale 1. And if we want, for example, filter grayscale 0.8 or something, we can do something like this. RGBA 0.8. And filter grayscale 0.2 is going to be like this. So that's what we want, but here we're just going to want full grayscale in this particular case. Okay, so a few tiny tweaks, something like cursor, east-west resize, and here cursor pointer. Okay, and one last thing right here, repeating linear gradient 45 degrees. This is going to go up to the thumb width, and then we're going to have white 0 up to twice the thumb width. Okay, so this should pretty much do it, and I'll leave it at this. I won't be tweaking it any further. This is what I wanted to show you for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you like it, if you like the work that I've been putting out for almost 9 years now, please support it. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon. The link is going to be in the description. Or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist. Again, the links are going to be in the description. Or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done these days on the web. Because honestly, I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching, and until next time. Bye!